Hey guys, Wrestling Throwdown here. I'm Haley and this is Joe, and we are going to talk about Raw last night. Raw was actually pretty good last night. It had its moments that it was kind of like overdoing it in backstage segments. That was kind of, I think, overdone last night a little bit. But other than that, it had some good stuff, some good feuds, some good segments. Obviously, some new characters forming. Obviously, as we've seen. And definitely some new good storylines that I'm actually very excited for. Joe, your thoughts?
They were freshening it up. I always enjoy the England crowd. The England crowd, even though it was pre-taped, the England crowd always is engaged and has awesome chants and pops for the English people. And so I always enjoy the English crowd. I thought they put on a decent show. Yeah, a little bit overkill in certain regards, and I certainly had my critiques. But I overall thought it was a solid show.
Yep. Alrighty. John Cena starts off. Comes out with a new shirt. He's got Hogan colors on. Yellow and red.
Brother.
He pretty much talks about how the Authority's job is in jeopardy and how they're making everybody on John Cena's team or anybody in the locker room technically scared to join, obviously, John Cena's team. He also talks about Zack Ryder. He's going to be out for 6 months. He tore his rotator cuff, I think. I think that's what it was. Yeah, and they
Zack had actually tweeted on Cena being interested in joining Team Cena. It would have been interesting if they actually pulled the trigger on that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but this is the rotator cuff's a pretty intense. Well, it's not like intense surgery, but he's going to be gone for a while. I wouldn't be surprised if he was gone for closer to a year, because it does take quite a long time to heal up from that. And he talks about how Dolph Ziggler and Jack Swagger is on his team. I was really excited when I heard Jack Swagger was on his team. Obviously, he's not anymore because he's hurt. Well, they injured, thrown him off. But it really upset me because I think it would have been a good thing for Jack Swagger to be on John Cena's team. And then Cena talks about how he's facing Ryback later on tonight and calls him out. Ryback comes out, and then the Authority comes out, and Mark Henry is with them. So obviously Mark Henry has joined Team Authority. No shock there.
Well, if you're going to have the strongest team ever, you need the world's strongest man, right?
Yeah, I guess so. And Triple H pretty much says everything's on the line. And Authority always wins, so you can do whatever you want, you know. And then he starts making fun of Cena's team. And then he wants Ryback. He keeps saying that Ryback, I'll give you anything you want, you know. Main event pictures, all that stuff, and then Ryback pretty much, and then Cena says, you know, whatever, if you want to join them or me, I don't care. I don't care if it's just me. He's like, I won't give up. Obviously, his obviously saying that he always says, and then Ryback says pretty much that he doesn't like the Authority, but he doesn't see John Cena's name on his paycheck, so he attacks Cena and then leaves. And it was funny because they said he joined Team Authority. He did not give them a handshake. He didn't hug them. He just left. He attacked Cena and left. And that's when I thought it was so funny. Like, you know, Jerry and JBL saying that, you know, he joined Team Authority. I'm like, he didn't join Team Authority. He just attacked Cena. Like, that makes sense.
If anything, he kind of big league Team Authority because Kane went in the ring to shake his hand and he just kind of brushed him off.
Yep, exactly. And that was SmackDown. Yep, exactly. So, it was just, like, the whole thing. He's just like, I was so confused when I heard that because I was just like, he didn't join Team Authority. But the segment was good. It was definitely good. Obviously, Zack Ryder, with the whole Zack Ryder thing, people were freaking out. They thought he got released, and so he obviously didn't want to say anything until he was obviously probably went to a doctor, and he made a tweet about it too, and he said people need to relax and stop making up stories, and that he tore his rotator cuff and he's fine and he'll be back in 6 months. That's pretty much what he said. So,
honestly, at this point, for my broski, this is probably I don't want to say the injury is the best thing that could have happened, but I mean, to take some time off, come back with a fresh new push, or a fresh new storyline, not the worst thing in the world. And obviously eliminate Zack Ryder from being the bunny. But, you know, I don't mind it.
Sami Zayn is supposed to be the bunny until Darren Young comes out. Because we've noticed that he's been doing a lot of moves that Sami Zayn's been doing.
And he's clearly Caucasian as well.
Yeah, exactly. So he's supposed to be Sami Zayn, but when they uncover him, it's supposed to be Darren Young. That's what the word is. But yeah, it was a good segment, obviously. Like I said, I still wish that Jack Swagger would be on their team. Obviously, he's not, but you know, who knows?
There was a lot of people who felt that way. My friend Chris Soriano, who works for Sirius XM Radio, felt the same way you did. He actually tagged me in a post where he discussed it. And, yeah, there was a few people that felt, Swag should have got a chance. I mean, obviously he got that push against Rusev and never quite, did anything after that. Would have been nice, but I had no problems with the selections that Team Cena ended up making.
Yeah. And then Seth faces him. And a lot of people say that this match is, like, overdone. And they're getting so sick of seeing them this match. And I kind of, like, thought about it, and I'm just like, to tell you the truth, Dolph and Seth have faced way more times, and no one ever complains about that. And I get it, they're both very talented, and they both are the best sellers, obviously, in WWE right now. But Jack Swagger makes a really good match with Seth, too. It's not like it's a bad match or anything like that. So I thought that was funny that people were complaining about this match, and I was just like, Seth's faced way more guys, way more than Jack Swagger. Like, I think this is, his maybe third or fourth time that he's actually faced them. And
I agree. Definitely Ziggs and Ziggs has faced Seth a lot more. Intercontinental title shots, all kinds of things. I had no problem with it. I mean, they ended up writing off Jack Swagger off the team, obviously, with the killer curb stomp. The curb stomp, which is a career ender. It's like Randy Orton's punt from 2009.
Yeah, and he curb stomped him twice, and then obviously Doctor came in, and obviously Jack Swagger got written off. I don't know what's going on, if he's supposed to be doing something. Maybe he's doing a movie, like a scene in a movie, or he had to do something. Who knows what happened? Or he could have they may have just gave him some time off, like a month or two off. Maybe they're just giving him a little bit of time off. Who knows? Anything is possible.
I mean, with the holidays approaching, certainly not a bad time to take some time off.
It was actually really funny. I was actually going to post this in the group. It was a meme of Seth Rollins. It was actually really funny. It was he was in a suit or whatever, and it said I only injure people to write them off to make movies or something like that. It was pretty funny.
Funny meme. I actually shared it. It was going around for it last week. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, definitely. Alrighty. Dean Ambrose. Now, there was actually, I guess I should talk about this first. There was actually a couple of people who couldn't make the England show, obviously. I know Bray Wyatt was one, Dean Ambrose was one. These were like pre-recorded promos. They weren't actually there at the show. Randy Orton, obviously, because he had a movie, but there was some other people, too. And then I know Seth can't be here tonight. John Cena can't be here. So, like half of the members couldn't be there on Raw, and half of the other half couldn't be on SmackDown. So for this week, for the touring purposes, I don't know what it was about, but Dean Ambrose was obviously not there tonight. This was, I guess, a pre-recorded promo kind of thing, video, whatever you want to call it. And he pretty much talks about how he made more enemies than friends, and that he did some dirty things, but he's not apologizing for anything. And he says he told Bray Wyatt not to hide, and they obviously make that official for SummerSlam or Survivor Series. Bray Wyatt versus Dean Ambrose. Obviously, we knew this match was coming, and they finally made it official last night. And obviously,
I thought there was a possibility they might inject it with Team Authority and Team Cena. I'm glad they chose to have this match be on its own, though. They're going to need some strong singles matches to back up that 5-on-5 main event.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't know if you've seen SmackDown, but Bray Wyatt, I talked about this in the SmackDown review. Bray Wyatt obviously made some remarks to Dean Ambrose's dad being in jail and everything like that. And I pretty much talked about how Dean Ambrose has had quite a life, and he says that he's never met his father, too. He's even said that, when he was in the Shield and stuff, he made a little remark about that. So I think that's kind of interesting that they're using his personal life and everything and putting it in this. I think it's kind of interesting. So
it almost
hopefully they do
reminds
more
me of
stuff.
Jericho and CM Punk from a couple years ago when Jericho was getting in the CM drunk stuff and jabbing at his parents and his sister and everything. Ambrose to me is a guy who likes to work in reality-based storylines. He did a lot of that in promos and stuff in the
CCW,
indies,
yeah.
where he talks about his mom, talks about his dad. So I'm sure he has no problem with it, and it's just going to add to the intriguing story that these two individuals tell.
Yeah, he's had a wild life, definitely, from all the CCW promos he's had with his mom and everything like that, and her boyfriends and everything, and how about when he was 12 and everything, and that how wrestling was like the only thing that kept him alive, pretty much. So it's definitely interesting that he puts all this stuff in perspective. It's really interesting. Alrighty, Kane and Ryback backstage, and this is where obviously the backstage segments kind of start getting out of hand, I think, overdone a little bit. He pretty much says, glad to have you on the team, and he says, I'll be at ringside, follow my lead. And Ryback pretty much says, I don't need your help. When I want your help, I'll ask for it. And he pretty much says, stay out of my way, and Kane obviously gets mad and leaves. And this obviously, every single backstage segment with Ryback and all the Teams of Authority members, pretty much every single time he gets madder and madder, Ryback obviously gets madder and madder, so it obviously gets ready for the blow-up at the end of the show.
Yeah, I mean, even a blind squirrel could see that Ryback was not going to end up aligning himself with Team Authority, and they obviously were making it clear with these promos with Kane and Seth and everything. But, I mean, it was interesting. Gave Ryback a chance to kind of show off his personality more, and I've certainly had no complaints with Ryback being featured as one of the top acts since he has returned. I was a little scratching my head on the heel turn, then face turn. It was like, did they bring back Vince Russo for a night? It seemed like a little too heavy on the swerve, if you ask me. But, I mean, they did a good job of getting where they needed to go at the end of the
night. Yep. Paige versus Alicia Fox. And Paige got a nice pop, obviously, because she's from England. Too bad Bad News Barrett wasn't.
That was cool.
Too bad Bad News Barrett isn't here. He actually, I heard rumors too about Wade Barrett. I guess he said in an interview that he's going to be out for at least another 6 more weeks. So I guess I don't know if he wants to really make sure he's okay, and that's not a bad idea. I think that's actually smart on his part because he is a tad bit injury prone. And, you want to make sure, because Christian always does that too. He used to always come back way too soon and obviously get injured again. So I'm glad that Wade Barrett is taking the extra time to really heal up, make sure he's fine before he actually gets back in the ring.
I mean, let's face it, they're kind of entering the little cold period before Royal Rumble, so there's no reason to come back now and risk injury. Royal Rumble is a good target date for a lot of these guys who are injured to return. Roman Reigns, Wade Barrett. Bryan was originally speculated, although I highly doubt Bryan will be at the Royal Rumble. But
yeah,
we'll get
it's bad for him. It's not looking too great for Daniel Bryan.
No, it's not.
Yeah, they want he wants to be at WrestleMania, but they don't even think he might not be at WrestleMania, which is sad and scary. But we'll see. And obviously, Paige versus Alicia Fox. Obviously, they're starting their little feud. I don't know if it's a pretty fast match, so Paige obviously won, and that was pretty much that. Nice, clean victory. So I don't know if they're going to continue this feud or if it was just a one-match thing to get redemption or what's going on with that.
I think they'll drag it out. It was cool to see the crowd, though, react to Paige the way they did, singing her song and everything. Good moment for Paige.
Yeah, definitely. Rusev and Stephanie backstage. Now, this is something I definitely want to talk about. Stephanie, pretty much, she talks about how she set everything up for him, and she congratulates him on being the United States champion, and she pretty much has always set up your celebration and everything in the ring. And she asked Lana pretty much if she will join, obviously, Team Authority. And she says she will consider it. And Stephanie's like a complete bitch to her. She pretty much won't take it. She's, I forgot what she calls her, but she's just really, she's just a real bitch to her. And Lana's just kind of like shocked. And it's kind of funny because it's just like, I wonder if like down the road, like maybe a few months down the road, something happens where they don't necessarily have to turn face, but they can obviously stand up for themselves against the authority. That's why I was kind of shocked that Lana didn't obviously stick up for herself, because she can still remain heel. You know, it doesn't mean that, you know, heels and heels can hate each other. It doesn't mean that they have to be best friends. You know, so I was actually kind of shocked. I have a feeling that something's going to happen with Lana and Stephanie. I have a feeling like this isn't over. I have a feeling that they're going to butt heads again soon.
I mean, it's certainly possible. I mean, with the authorities' demise possibly happening and rumors that Stephanie McMahon Helmsley may in fact be pregnant, I'm not sure if we're gonna.
I didn't hear about that.
There's some rumors going around. That's why that's a rumor as to why they actually came up with the stipulation as an excuse to write her off television. But if she's not, then I can certainly see some kind of altercation. And Lana, I'd like to see Lana in the ring at some point, and her and Stephanie, I'd check that match out. It'd be intriguing.
Definitely. And then Stephanie and Triple H backstage. See, when I get, they're all backstage segments. They talk about obviously how Vince did this whole match and everything and why he did it. And she pretty much says, oh, he always wants me to fight for what I believe in. He always wants me to, you know, show that I can do it, everything I, you know, achieved for and everything. And Triple H thinks that their dad is gonna try to separate them. I don't know if we're going to actually turn this into a storyline or what, you know, because obviously they were having problems earlier when, you know, Kurt Angle and everything was here and everything. I think that was like in early 2000s, wasn't it? Something like that?
Yeah, 2000, 2001, right before the Alliance storyline when Triple H got hurt.
Yeah.
No, 2000.
Yeah, I was like right a year or two right before I started watching. And he says, don't worry about it, we'll win. And she goes, what if? She keeps talking about what if something happens. And he goes, don't think like that. He says, we'll be fine, we're going to win, we got a strong team, don't worry about it, and blah, blah, blah. But I do think it's interesting if they're going to do the whole storyline with the whole separating. It's going to be interesting, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because they backed off the Tyson Kidd Natalya storyline a little bit with not having Natalya accompany Tyson Kidd to the ring tonight. So, I mean, they could. It seems 15 years too late. I mean, 3 kids later. I mean, the whole feud with DX and the McMahons years ago, and now Vince is going to come back and try to break up Stephanie and Triple H when they're working on his 4th grandkid.
Yeah, it's interesting. Rusev Celebration. The Russian national anthem played, and then Sheamus obviously interrupted, and this led into the rematch for the United States title. And Rusev won by countout when Joey Mercury and Jamie Noble distracted Sheamus, and obviously this was obviously to get Lana. Obviously, and then there was obviously a backstage segment after, and Lana pretty much accepts, and Stephanie is still pretty much a bitch to Lana, and she goes, I don't want to hear that Russian crap, you know. So
Stephanie was in quite the mood last night.
Yeah, definitely. But I think it's good that obviously, and then obviously we see Sheamus obviously join Team Xena later on in the night, but obviously they're setting it up so still the feuds can continue, obviously, with, you know. And also I heard Dolph and Luke Harper are actually going to be feuding too after this. So
that's the direction they were going
too, so that'll be nice.
Yeah, and that'll be great to see Luke injected in a feud with Ziggler and getting shots at the Intercontinental title, perhaps even taking the Intercontinental title. I'd love to see him with a mid-card belt, especially considering the Wyatts never won the tag straps. So, you know, I think Luke's got big potential for his future and for his first big solo feud, Intercontinental title, Dolph Ziggler. I dig it. He was clearly the target of those Hills Have Eyes type promos that you were seeing the past few weeks. They were really only playing when Ziggler would come out, so it was easy to determine that he would end up targeting Ziggler, but, you know, the swerve at the end of the night, pretty cool.
Definitely. Alrighty, Seth and Ryback backstage pretty much, and welcomes him to, and he says that's the right call, and he pretty much talks about how the Shield obviously targeted Ryback in the very beginning of their trio, and he goes, I know we had our differences, but we need to put that behind us. And he says, oh, I agree with you, you don't need to listen to Kane, he goes, you need to listen to me. And Ryback says he's fine and to leave him the hell alone. And so Seth obviously gets aggravated and leaves.
Everybody loves to bug the big guy. God. Let the big guy do his thing. He's hungry. He wants to feed more. Stay out of his way.
Los Matadores versus Miz and Mizdow. And Hornswoggle obviously is Mini Miz, which was hilarious. I thought that was actually pretty funny. And Miz and Mizdow win, obviously. And obviously, we've talked about this. It is going to be a fatal four-way with Los Matadores, Miz and Mizdow, and Usos, and Goldust, and Stardust. And there are rumors of Miz and Mizdow winning. So hopefully
I hope so.
They're over. Yeah,
They certainly have a lot of momentum, despite the fact that Miz is clearly a heel and Sandow at this point is clearly babyface. They're very entertaining on the WWE YouTube, the acting lesson, the part one, where they're showing the little mirror techniques. Pretty entertaining stuff. It's starting to remind me of kind of like a Miz and Morrison kind of vibe, but obviously a different kind of level. And it would be great to see them get the tag straps. Miz is a multiple-time tag champion. Big Show, Morrison, among others.
Damien, first title, wasn't it? Won't it be? First title.
Sandow's, yeah. I mean, unless you count the Money in the Bank briefcase, but they've never had a title besides that.
Yeah, so that'll be really good for Mizdow, definitely.
I mean, the Rhodes Scholars came close to the tag straps, didn't get them, and he was feuding with Dolph for a while for the IC title, but never got it.
Yeah. Dolph Ziggler and John Cena backstage, and this is obviously when Dolph asked him how Jack Swagger was doing, and he said not good, so obviously he was out of it. And John Cena pretty much says he will understand if he wants to just give up and leave his group. And Dolph says no, he's for once on Cena's side. He goes, the Authority needs to, be gone, so I don't care if it's just the two of us, I'm not leaving you. And then Triple H obviously comes backstage, starts dancing, which was pretty funny. And he says that Cena obviously says that he's going to be at ringside with Dolph, just in case if Team Authority tries anything. And then Triple H bans Cena from ringside and says, oh, we need a fair match, So you're going to be banned from ringside, obviously. So it was interesting. Obviously, Team Authority doing anything they can to pretty much fuck with Team Cena.
As they say, desperate times call for desperate measures, and times are looking pretty desperate for the Authority as we get closer to Survivor Series.
Yeah. Dolph Ziggler versus Mark Henry. Luke Harper video again, or promo, whatever you want to call it, and it's not really a promo. I guess you can just call it video. And it was a DQ. Mark Henry obviously starts hitting Dolph with chairs, and then gets the steel stairs and stuff. And then obviously Big Show comes out, and Big Show joined Team Cena. And then backstage, they're obviously all three talking, and they goes, okay, now we just need to find two more. And Sheamus goes, actually, just one more. And Sheamus says that he will join them too.
Count me in, fella. I got nothing else to do.
Pretty much. I know a lot of people don't like me dissing on Sheamus. A lot of people actually have been sticking up for him lately. I'm not really sure what's the deal with that, but
maybe
they're like
saying that he's really good. The US title.
I don't know. They're like saying that they like him a lot and they think he's very talented and everything. And I go, I never said he sucked or anything. I think that he's just so stale. They don't have anything for him, so they're just like kind of throwing anything at him now because he's just.
I wouldn't be shocked if Team Authority pulls out the win. Here's a little preview to whenever we do the preview video for Survivor Series. If Sheamus is the mole who ends up turning on Team Cena. We've talked about it in the past, his history with Triple H. They're obviously close friends outside the business. He probably would not have a job with the WWE, let alone be a two-time WWE champion. former Royal Rumble winner, former world champion, former King of the Ring, United States champion. He would not have achieved any of that had he not had the backing of the Cerebral Assassin. So I still wouldn't rule out Sheamus, and him being on Team Cena. Now that he's lost the U.S. title, he's kind of backed in a corner. I wouldn't be shocked if he ends up being a mole. Just saying. And again, like Team Authority had been kind of favorable to Sheamus in regards to Damien Mizdow and The Miz and other little things. So I'm paying attention to that one, and I would not be shocked if Sheamus is the mole.
Yeah, it would be interesting. I think he needs it. I really do.
He needs some kind of moment, because like at this point, I understand the Sheamus sympathizers, because in the ring, for his size, I mean, every time he's in the ring, he gives you the best he has. And that's really all you can ask for a competitor. He's charismatic in his own way, even though I don't think he's necessarily funny, and I think his humor is corny at best. I don't know if you would agree. I like him better as a heel. I thought one of his strongest moments actually was with Santino and Vladimir Kozlov a couple years ago in England.
The Tea Party, oh, that was great. That was the best. That was one of the best
comments. He's a much better, like, heel who can be silly at times than a babyface who just, like, is kind of generic. With Sheamus, he needs something. He just needs something to change it up. It's just been too much of the status quo for him.
Yeah. All right, this is something that was huge last night, and I'm sure Joe will agree with me. I was extremely excited. I actually missed last week when Xavier Woods did his promo, his little church thing, or choir thing, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, and it was interesting because I was still reading rumors that they were still thinking about doing this trio, and that the reason that they quit, obviously, because they were getting racial remarks, and everyone was saying it was racist, obviously, which was so stupid. It was the stupidest
thing. They didn't say that about the Nation of Domination in the 90s. It's just because we live in a politically correct society now. Pisses me off, actually.
Yeah, and obviously Kofi did his little new thing. So all that's left now is Big E, and obviously if these two are together, Big E is next. And I was just so excited. They still got the suits. They're still working the suits. And it actually reminded me a lot of, I hope he likes it when I say this, Christopher Sterling. He's been showing me a lot of videos recently, and he's been saying that he's healed right now, and he wears actually suits to the ring with his buddy, and it just kind of reminded me a little bit of that. I thought it was really cool, and maybe like they're going to actually wrestle in their suits, Which actually,
I can't believe we're talking RWA on a Monday Night Raw review show. Their clique is kind of like almost like an international flavor, almost like a semi-anti-American clique. They're with a couple Canadian guys and stuff. They're with a guy who dresses like a judge, Judge Chambers. I mean, they're pretty entertaining. Obviously, it's going to have the African-American connotation. Sterling's actually the only African-American in his clique. They almost have a little bit of right to censor in them, too, I feel. With this clique, I'm very excited. I popped extremely when Kofi Kingston was showcased in the vignette last night. And, looks like Big E's next. We're going to get the Nation of Jobber Nation in some form or fashion. And, it's going to be entertaining. And I'm certainly looking forward to, see how far they can go. And now you have other little entertaining trios like, Mini Miz with Mizdow. And so you get some entertaining little stables starting to build up. And it's interesting to see.
Yeah, I was very excited, definitely. It's great because everyone thought that this was done, it was over, and obviously I don't know if they were just kind of waiting for the things to die down, and then they were obviously they're probably creative team obviously try to work with them, be like, okay, we got to think of a song, we got to think of some promos you guys can do, and obviously they had to get that situated because what happened was when they first started off, Xavier Woods just kind of came in and said, oh, I don't know about you two, but I'm sick of the treatment we're getting, we deserve better than this and everything like that. And so they kind of just did a few little things and then it was just done. And I feel like they wanted this time to be they wanted a storyline, obviously, with this time. They wanted something like a certain character gimmick, I guess you can say, for this whole group. They didn't just want 3 random people to just be turn heels all of a sudden. They actually wanted a storyline and a gimmick for them to start with.
And I don't mind it. I do feel, though, like for them to initially kind of sort of debut it 6 months ago, what seems like now, and then back off it. It took them this long to come up with this creative plan. I will be critical on that. But once we actually get to see him, I'm excited. I'm glad we're actually getting him. I would have been ticked if they completely just threw it in the garbage. And honestly, these 3 guys need this. What else would they really be doing right now without it? So I'm hoping it can... Kofi Kingston, besides the Royal Rumble, when is he ever relevant? When he has the 2 spots that make him steal the show in the Royal Rumble. Xavier Woods, he desperately needs this, and Big E Langston needs this as well. So,
yeah, and we lost Joe. But I think the reason why they stopped was obviously because of the racial remarks, and that's why they said it. Maybe that's why they were waiting so long to bring this trio group back, because they wanted these comments or whatever, these rumors, whatever people were saying on the internet about this, to die down. And I think that's what took them so long to come up with this whole thing. They wanted to make sure there was no more, racial remarks, and obviously then they would make this whole gimmick. But I'm definitely excited. I think a lot of people are excited that they're still going forward with this. And for the people who think it's racist, just shut the hell up. Seriously, you're stupid. Just whatever.
I mean, look, when they put the WCW cruiserweights on lawnmowers, I can understand why people cried racism on that one. On this one, look, just let it play out. It's a little bit cliche. I'm not going to disagree with that. But, hey, these guys need this. And I feel like this is something that they might have actually pitched, even before we initially saw it. They're clearly friends outside of the business, and I'm looking forward to see the chemistry that they have.
Definitely. And I always said, too, Xavier Woods got pushed up way too fast in this, so I feel like this is what's going to save him right here.
Oh, yeah. And Xavier Woods is a good talker, but he's not like an amazing wrestler. I'd say I wouldn't put him in the category of, say, Kenta and Baylor and some of these other guys that are debuting on NXT. But he's got the charisma. He was entertaining as Consequences Creed and TNA. And this is really the best thing they can come up with for him. So I hope he can hit a home run. I really do. I like the kid.
This is pretty much what it is. He's obviously, we can see him being the leader of this trio, him being the talker, obviously, because he is probably the best talker out of these 3. Big E really can't talk that great. Kofi, I mean, you said he was really good with the whole heel gimmick earlier, but I haven't seen it. So I think Xavier Woods definitely should be their talker, their Dean Ambrose, as you can say. Kofi, obviously, with the athletic ability, the Seth Rollins, and obviously Big E, their strong point, Roman Reigns. That's exactly what it is. Right. AJ Lee versus Brie Bella. And AJ Lee won. Nikki Bella attacked AJ Lee from behind. And supposedly Nikki Bella is not going to win, actually. I don't know if we talked about this, but I guess Brie, like, they're setting it up with I guess the 30 days that Brie has to be her slave. I guess, like, they're going to set it up for the last day or something, or they're going to act like it anyways, with Brie being able to turn on Nikki and cost her the match, obviously.
Yeah, I kind of figured that would be the direction they go with it. I didn't picture AJ dropping the title to Nikki Bella. Did not see that happening at all.
Yeah. Alrighty. And then Mark Henry and Ryback backstage. And he pretty much, he says, do you remember, our feud and everything like that at WrestleMania and everything like he obviously talks about the WrestleMania thing. And he goes, I'm just joking and everything. He makes a couple sarcastic remarks and everything. And obviously that gets Ryback mad, and he looks obviously very mad. So we obviously can see something's going to happen, because every single person just keeps getting madder and madder.
It's funny they brought up the WrestleMania match with Mark Henry, because I actually thought that's when they really significantly started ruining Ryback. Now we can all point to about a year, 2 years ago now, because it'll be Survivor Series would be 2 years the debut of the Shield, believe it or not. That's where Ryback, up to Hell in the Cell 2012, he went from fighting jobbers to taking Cena's place against CM Punk, which they shouldn't have done because they had no plans of Ryback winning, and they just needed a fill-in guy, and Ryback was better than a fill-in guy. They didn't want Punk to drop the title to him because he was supposed to fight Rocky at Royal Rumble. But whatever. So he went on this streak of keep losing pay-per-view matches. A bunch of them he lost against the Shield with, Team Hell No and random combinations like that. And then it got to that WrestleMania match with Mark Henry. And I really thought that could be maybe a new beginning for Ryback. Get Mark Henry up for the shell shock. There's your WrestleMania moment. No, what do we get? Mark Henry falling on top of Ryback as the finish of the WrestleMania match. Then the following night, after WrestleMania, Ryback comes out, starts going at Cena like he's got a feud for the title. The crowd pops insane for it, despite them ruining Ryback from Survivor Series till WrestleMania. And they just turned Ryback heel. It was one of those instances that they were scared to do a babyface. I mean, to me, Ryback Cena, I don't want to necessarily say this, but that's comparable to Ultimate Warrior and Hogan when you had the babyface versus babyface matchup. It's cool. It's the Colossus match of the Titans, and it's almost like like that old Hulk Hogan mentality stays in the writers. Oh, it's got to be face heel. Got to be face heel. When back in 2005 when Hogan fought Michaels, everybody was pissed at Hogan for making Michaels turn.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. That's why I think this time with the whole Ryback thing, they need to have a steady push. They can't just skyrocket it to the top like they did, and because they'll ruin him again. Obviously, you've seen what happened. He was with Curtis Axel, and where's Curtis Axel too? I know he kind of came back on the event, but
main event last week. I actually saw the video on YouTube. They had a public breakup on main event.
Oh, did they really? I did not see that.
It's on the WWE's YouTube.
That's actually the first time WWE's actually finished through with something, because usually it
wasn't like a fuck you kind of thing. Like he went up to Axel and they kind of reminisced about Ryback, and the big guy's like, hey, I got to do my own king, and Kurt kind of understood, and they kind of had a sappy moment. They're like, Ryback for life, and friggin'.
So are they actually having Curtis Axel actually be a face now or something, or is that what?
I think it was their way to kind of give some kind of closure to Ryback. I mean, let's face it, that was the first time we've seen Curtis Axel in months. So yeah, I feel
I didn't even see that. I need to look that up then.
I feel like Curtis Axel could be a victim of the next cuts if there's another cutting wave before.
Yeah, they don't have anything for him.
It's a shame. Great worker, but, at this point, maybe him going to TNA as Joe Hennig could be a blessing in disguise. He actually has a history with Bobby Roode.
He's a good X Division champion, definitely good X Division.
I wouldn't even say I would put him. I could see TNA putting him in the heavyweight picture a la MVP.
Well, yeah, I can see that too, but.
And like I said, him and Roode used to tag in the Independents a long time ago. He's got a history of Roode. So if TNA stays around long enough and Curtis Axel becomes available, I think he could be a guy they could utilize.
Yeah, I know TNA's still trying to get Del Rio, which will be a good thing for them.
I doubt it. I wouldn't be shocked if Del Rio ends up in Lucha Underground, which I saw Michael Miner did a review on. A lot of people are talking about Lucha Underground. I don't get it on Verizon. I have not seen the first episode yet, but a lot of people gave it good reviews, so I think for Del Rio, I could see that. I just don't see him going to TNA. I think he'd rather stay in Mexico. I think TNA is too much of a damn brand.
Yeah. Alrighty, now this is actually pretty crazy. People were obviously complaining about this a few hours before the show, saying, and everyone was just like, no, there's no way, this is a joke. But obviously it was true. Grumpy Cat is going to be I just thought that was so funny.
It's crazy. I mean, you literally have a meme hosting Raw. A meme. Really? Grumpy Cat? I mean, this is the company that has had the Muppets, be a guest host in the past. And look, I mean, they just put out that WCW Oh My God Moments DVD, and they included the promo that Chucky the Doll had with Rick Steiner in the late 90s. This, to me, is reminiscent of that. Very silly, very dumb. I mean, Grumpy Cat, obviously the IWC has literally shat themselves in just egregiousness. I'll say this, it's probably a better option than Kathy Lee and Hoda. I will say that. So Grumpy Cat going to be making his Raw appearance next week in the European Tour. Anything is possible in the WWE Universe, including a Grumpy Cat host. Unbelievable, folks.
Hey guys, sorry. Crazy internet. Alright, let me get Joe back here. so we can finish talking about Grumpy Cat. Alrighty. Okay, so yeah, I thought it was pretty crazy that I feel like they're just like throwing anything at us now for, special guests. Like, I feel like it's just any random person that they can get, or thing, or creature, anything that they can get. They're just gonna just do this, and I don't know if it's just for like comedy roles or what. I mean, Joe, your thoughts on Grumpy Cat?
Grumpy Cat, the internet community was so outraged for us even acknowledging Grumpy Cat being on Raw that it shut down Wrestling Throwdown. I mean, look, WWE has done stuff like this in the past. They brought in the Muppets a couple of years ago. I actually enjoyed
that
when they
was
brought
actually good, though. I liked the Muppets. I actually did.
I
With the Vicky Guerrero thing, that was actually gold. I loved that.
Sheamus and Beaker going face to face. That was pretty cool. His long lost doppelganger Beaker.
That was pretty funny.
This to me, I don't understand it. First of all, I didn't even realize like this cat existed. I thought it was just a meme.
No, it exists. There's actually Grumpy Cat the movie now. They're making a movie. They're making a movie. Yeah, wow. It's gonna be in theaters. You should go and watch it.
I'm turning 30 next month. I guess I'm behind the times now. They're making a Grumpy Cat movie. Oh my god. I mean, look.
Me and Kayla.
Yeah. This to me is reminiscent of when WCW, they actually just included this in their WCW Oh My God DVD, which I purchased and was actually a very good watch. When they had Chucky the Doll come out and do a promo against Rick Steiner. Oh, I mean, like, what are they going to do? I shudder to think. Like, I got to have Miz Dow and Miz have an argument with Angry Kitty. Like, I don't know. I guess we're going to have to wait and see what happens on Raw to see how atrocious this actually is.
Interesting. I know Natalia loved it because she has a cat that looks like it.
Yes. Yeah, Tyson Kidd loves those cats more than he loves Natalia.
Alrighty. Speaking of Tyson Kidd, that's next. Tyson Kidd versus Adam Rose. Now, this is what I want to talk about. We got two good things to talk about here. And obviously, I guess we can talk about this now. Adam Rose loses after a distraction from the bunny, kicks Bunny, and leaves with the Rosebud. And he did this obviously on Friday too, but they actually said that since this was pre-taped, he has been still working as a face for this whole tour, So they said actually that he might be obviously turning heel after this, but I guess they wanted him to work as a face for this whole thing. So technically, I guess they're I don't know. It's like the whole thing, like he's not. The whole bunny thing is just. It's gonna happen eventually, but I guess they just wanted him to stay face for a little bit longer. I don't know, because obviously the bunny was still with him, and even after turning on him, so.
The reports are the WWE pre-show of Survivor Series will feature Adam Rose versus Bunny. Those.
Oh God! And then that might be actually the time where Darren Young returns.
I'm thinking that at this point, kill the Bunny. You'll have a babyface return from Darren Young or whoever it is. I really hope it's not Sammy as the reveal because I feel like Sammy could get hurt by that. Like Sammy's so much better. That
would be horrible. That would be horrible.
I mean. Yeah, he is El Generico.
Bad for Darren Young too, but I'd rather it be Darren Young than Sami Zayn.
Darren Young can make it work. Like I feel like just the shock of Darren Young coming back. I've seen his comeback video. He's got a new look. He's kind of got like a lineup and a beard, and he looks more mean. Like he looks more intense. And I think he's gonna do well. I really do. I have faith in him.
Yeah.
Darren Young
with the whole Adam Rose turning heel, I think it might help a little bit, but I think they're hopefully eventually just gonna kill the Rosebuds too.
Yeah,
if they do that, that'll be great, and then he'll be fine.
I mean, the Rosebuds, you're seeing less and less focus on them. The hot dog's gone. A lot of the main staples of it is gone. Too bad because indie wrestler by the name of Mark the Sure Thing Sherman played the hot dog when they were in New England for Money in the Bank, and I thought he did an excellent job as the hot dog. But yeah, the Rosebuds, they're gonna be killing them off. I mean, I've said this in past videos. I feel like they tried to force Adam Rose to be the new Santino, especially with Santino retiring. That didn't work out. And now Damian Sandow is kind of falling into that role. And I feel like it's more natural for Sandow to be kind of the funny guy of the show as opposed to Adam Rose. Adam Rose doesn't strike me as a funny guy. He doesn't even strike me as a fun guy. I wouldn't want to hang out with him. I'd probably end up punching him in the face. Him and his rosebud on ecstasy popping around. Ugh. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, he's better off as a heel. I definitely, but the gimmick is not going to be able to stay with him as a heel, so they're obviously going to have to kill it all if they're going to kill the bunny, obviously. And this made me happy, obviously, because they haven't shown him for a while, and now they've been showing him lately, and he's been, this heel kind of mean guy towards the bunny. So obviously, I mean, it's definitely great because creative team obviously thought this through and were like, we got to turn him heel. We got to just kill the gimmick because it's not working. It's not fun anymore. It didn't work out. We're going to kill the gimmick. And that was a smart thing on their part.
And hey, fact, Tyson Kidd now on a winning streak. Defeated Sheamus last week.
Natalya, too, was not there. So I wonder if they're filming on Total Divas where they either got in a huge, huge fight and just like, I don't know, it's like said they're on a break right now or what. Or maybe, who knows what's happening, but
I feel like with them, both of them are too bad actors for this to. I know Total Divas is mostly work, but I feel like with them, they really are in a loveless marriage. They've been together since they were kids, and I feel like they've significantly outgrown each other. I feel like Tyson has a disdain for Natty, and Natty, who I think initially people thought she was going to be the likable character on the show.
Yeah, she's kind of coming off as a bitch. She really is.
Catty Natty.
Yep, very catty. Definitely, that's definitely a word. And during this match, obviously, another Wyatt member came out. Now, a lot of people, whoa, what's up with my camera? Why is it showing so small? That's weird. Obviously, people said that this can obviously be a couple of different things. Now, and guys, I'm sorry about my camera. I don't know why it's so small. Luke Harper actually came out. And the Rosebuds were all freaking out and everything. He just kind of circles his way through the ring. There we go, it's back now. He kind of circles his way through the ring, and he's kind of like looking around and everything. And I go, what the hell is he looking for? Is he looking for Natalya? Now, this was another speculation. People thought maybe he was looking for Natalya. Maybe if he's just like going to do different random people. And then he kind of looks at the announce table, and then he goes, she's not here. And so he goes up into the ramp, and obviously he goes up there. And obviously they did an app that Tom Phillips, and this was another clue that it was obviously Renee Young that he was looking for. Tom Phillips was doing an interview. He goes, he lifts up his mask, and he goes, she's not here either. And so he leaves. So obviously they're going to be doing, I don't know if you would really call it a Samuel Shaw and Christy Hemme kind of thing. Like he's stalking her.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's funny because everyone says, oh, there goes WWE copying off of TNA again. And it's just like they copy off of each other. It's not even really that they copy. I mean, it's just so much stuff has been overdone, and it's just like they're running out of ideas for new things. So obviously they're going to put their own twist on it probably and make it, their own thing. Because this is what they could also do. And Joe, you might hate this idea, but I was thinking, since the whole thing with Dean Ambrose, her boyfriend in real life, is feuding with Bray Wyatt, since they're still talking about the Sister Abigail thing, I was wondering, and he's talking about how Dean Ambrose sins, he's sinning. They can kind of play this out into a storyline and say that, Renee Young is Sister Abigail, and I know you may hate this idea, but they can say, if Dean Ambrose is fine with this and Renee's fine with this, because so many people already know they're going out anyway, so they can say that he sinned for being with Sister Abigail. And they can kind of play this out into a whole storyline. Because it's kind of funny that he's obviously feuding with Bray Wyatt at the same time while Luke Harper has a thing with Renee Young. It's just, I feel like there's something going to connect there. I feel like they have to connect it at some point. I think that they can make this into something really cool and something that people will really like. And that's just my opinion on this.
I mean, the thing with the Eric Rowan, by the way, and
yeah, I kept saying Luke Harper. I'm so sorry.
I mean, Renee Young, I think, does a great job as a broadcaster. You've mentioned her maybe getting on SmackDown as part of the team. She already does a great job with NXT. I feel like making her a character on the show is going to hurt her chances of being taken seriously as a broadcaster. Case in point, Michael Cole. When they turned him heel, you gotta tell me people took him as seriously as the voice of Raw and as the broadcaster when they turned him heel. So I feel like this could backfire. Renee Young has a lot of potential with the WWE, and they're trying to hold on to her. ESPN's trying to court her. They're trying to make her the new Michelle Beadle, and they certainly could. I mean, you look at what they've done with Jonathan Coachman and others. It would be great on ESPN, and they'd probably pay her more money than WWE too. And it comes down to it. If it ain't making dollars, it ain't making sense. So, I mean, look, Renee Young loves the business. Is a student of wrestling. I think she I've seen her in a lot of the backstage. A lot of the DVDs and kind of seen her personality, especially on the Heyman DVD. I thought it was interesting, the stuff they had on her there. She, to me, wants to be taken seriously as the most, how do I say this? Like the most legitimate female broadcaster in wrestling history, arguably. Maybe that's what she's going for. And I think she could do that. But getting involved in a story, I mean, again, you're talking about copying Samuel Saw and Christy Hemme. Christy Hemme, at least, has been a wrestler, and, you know, she has a past of being an on-camera figure, and people have kind of messed with her in the past. Who could forget Austin Aries messing with her last year, which almost led to Austin Aries getting fired, and he had to publicly apologize for her over that. But
that was so funny. I still thought that was great.
Yeah, it was entertaining. Gotta love A-dubs. So, I mean, they certainly could connect the dots with Ambrose and everything. I wish they wouldn't, because I feel like there's other females on the roster they can make storylines with. And look, Renee Young is very captivating, very interesting, beautiful young lady. From a broadcaster standpoint, I want to see her strictly as a broadcaster. That's just my.
Yeah. And they also said, obviously, they can go with the whole Lita and Kane thing in this, obviously, kind of scenario, maybe turning her heel, but I don't know. I still feel like Sister Abigail can be significant. I feel like, you know, and maybe he was looking for Natalya. You know, maybe he's going to have a new girl every week. Maybe he just has a thing for blondes, you know.
Yeah, I still think Karma would be the best choice for Sister Abigail. Based on look, based on the intensity, based on work rate. You know, she's Southern, kind of goes with the Bray Wyatt Southern kind of shtick. I feel like, you know, she would be great at it. I know that probably not. That's probably a stretch, but I'm holding out hope.
Yeah, and they also can say this whole thing is for him, like, looking for Sister Abigail. You know, Eric Rowan's pretty much, and like I said, with the whole mask thing, I wish he would lose it, but, you know, it's kind of like his thing, you know. It's kind of like his kind of creepy gimmick kind of thing, but now he's kind of got like a stalker gimmick. Maybe he really is looking for Sister Abigail, and so every single lady, maybe he's just trying to look. Maybe that's why he was checking out Renee Young's hair. Maybe he's going to look at every single diva and see if they're actually Sister Abigail. Maybe that's going to be his whole gimmick, looking for Sister Abigail. So there's a number of things that this could have happened and done with, but I feel like he was looking for Renee Young because of obviously the app, and with Tom Phillips, and he thought she was going to be interviewing when him saying she's still not here, obviously. I feel like that was your clue that he was looking for Renee Young instead of Natalya.
Hey, they're gonna play it out obviously for the next month or two, so we'll see where they go with it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's awesome. I think it's gonna be one of my favorites for right now.
I could have done worse with Eric Rowan, I'll say that.
Yeah. I know a lot of people aren't like in love with it, but I think it's hilarious. I think it's really cool, and I think they can do something.
Here's my thing. I've said this before. Eric Rowan's not going to be a main eventer That's clearly evident. So, I mean, I do feel like they're giving him the Festus, Mike Knox kind of treatment, but at the same time, if he can make it work, this is a test right now. If he can make this entertaining, maybe he can secure a place on this roster for the next few years. Coach Ross. So
yeah, he's 42 years old. I actually looked this up. He's 42 years old.
No spring chicken, that's for sure. Kind of like Titus O'Neil.
Luke Harper, I think is like 35, but Eric Rowan is 42 years old. So I was just like, wow. Like, I feel like maybe that's why they aren't going to they're maybe going to do this whole little gimmick thing and maybe another few more years and then he might be done. Yeah, I don't feel like he's going to have, obviously, a long run because, obviously, he's already pretty old. So,
I mean, with Luke, I feel like they have more potential. They're going to try to make him the new Bruiser Brody. And, I know he had wrestled in Ring of Honor and been through the independents, so I know he was no spring chicken. But, I mean, 35, you can still get some miles with. So this is what hurts AJ Styles. He's 37. And, like, that's the biggest thing. If it was 5 years ago, I think AJ Styles would be signed right now.
Yeah, definitely. Alrighty, Authority backstage. They ask where Ryback is, and everyone pretty much says Ryback isn't a team player. And that they said, Triple H obviously got mad and said, you were all on the same page here, you all need to get along. And then Ryback appears and says, you talking about me behind my back? And Triple H goes, hey, don't worry about it. He goes, all you need to worry about is destroying John Cena tonight.
Well said.
And obviously that was, again, another thing. They're talking about him behind his back. They're all saying that they don't like him. That obviously enraged Ryback even more.
Don't talk about the big guy behind his back. You don't like that.
You obviously, they gave you multiple hints, even if you couldn't see, in the beginning of the show, multiple hints that he was getting madder and madder and that he was obviously going to turn on them eventually.
Stevie Wonder could see the turn was coming, seriously.
Yeah. Chris Jericho, highlight reel this Friday. I don't think he's actually returning. I think he actually is he might have a tour in UK right now, and maybe that's why he could say he can do it.
I know the skinny behind it. I listened to his podcast a few weeks ago. This is the skinny behind it. He added to her because they were hurting on bodies, so he wasn't going to do any televised events. But then they added the highlight reel as part of SmackDown, obviously just to kind of hype Survivor Series and give another interview platform to the Authority. You saw Christian with the Peep Show last week, but now you're seeing random different interview shows pop up on SmackDown. But don't expect it to be a long comeback with Jericho. This is kind of a spot start, if you will.
Yeah. I had a feeling it was just maybe because it was convenient for him. Maybe he was touring by there or something like that. And then I don't think...
He doesn't start the official Fozzy tour until the end of November, so he was able to do the European tour. That's what I'm not at.
That's cool. Bray Wyatt did a little promo, and he pretty much he talks about how we're all to be accepted as who we are, and Dean Ambrose is different just like me, and he's a dirty, rotten sinner. And he says, you haven't seen real evil. He goes, you talk about, seeing real evil and fighting with real evil, but you haven't seen real evil yet. And he pretty much tells him to just walk away. So obviously they were both not there tonight, so they obviously pre-recorded their promos. So we'll see, obviously, something probably, they'll finish up their whole promo thing, last confrontation probably next Monday before, obviously, Survivor Series.
Yes.
Alrighty, in the main event, John Cena versus Ryback. Team Authority, obviously, all at ringside. And then Stephanie and Triple H are watching backstage. And obviously, John Cena obviously runs into Kane and, kind of pushes him away. And then Kane comes back in the ring and attacks Cena, and then that means it's a DQ, and Cena obviously wins from that. And Ryback obviously doesn't like that, so, Kane and him kind of get into it. And then Seth, you know what, Seth, why do they always gotta be so mean to Seth? Seth is like the therapist of everybody. He's always trying to make everybody get along. I've noticed that. And everyone's just so mean to him. It's just so not nice. It's like Heath Slater, Heath Slater is always in the mix of something bad.
He's just trying to do the same thing that Triple H has done for 20 years, and that's be the cerebral assassin and play the game. He played the game, he played the Shield, and now he's trying to play everybody. At the end of the day, he's looking out for number one.
And obviously Ryback doesn't like it, and he hits Seth, and then Kane obviously hits Ryback. And then so they all start gaining up on Cena, and then Team Xena comes out. Now, Sheamus and Big Show come out, but Dolph doesn't come out. And I go, where's Dolph? I don't know if anybody else noticed that, but I was just like, where's Dolph? Whatever. And obviously Ryback then attacks Team Authority and then leaves, and then John Cena is clapping his hands, obviously. So obviously they know something's going to happen probably next Monday. Obviously Ryback is going to officially join Team Xena to make it 5 versus 5, because Team Authority just gained their 5th member. They were watching backstage, and they were just like, oh, that's great, Ryback, is not on our team now. Dolph is attacked and thrown into the couch, whatever, and they look up, and it is Luke Harper. And he goes, I'm a team player.
This is proven fact.
Looks like he's got a nice, cool look to him, too. I mean, it's not too much different, but he does got a nice little different look to him. It's different than what he had, definitely. It's not like completely different, but it's different, Obviously, Eric Rowan kind of stayed with the same kind of look, but Luke Harper kind of obviously upgraded a little bit.
Yeah, and I think we'll continue to see the evolution of like how these guys progress with not only their appearance but their in-ring prowess as well. Luke Harper, I mean, I think it could work with him, the kind of, the jeans, even though Ambrose is kind of sporting that look too now. I think that could work for what he's doing at the moment. As far as Rowan, I want to see him ditch the jumpsuit and the mask. I mean, the only change right now with Rowan is he went from a navy blue jumpsuit to a darker jumpsuit. That's really the only change.
Pretty much. But it's definitely surprising that Luke Harper has done this. I mean, we've seen a few promos and everything like that. I had a feeling, I didn't think that he was going to show up this soon. I thought he was going to maybe do something at Survivor Series. And, but they showed him today, And they should, because obviously Eric Rowan, he showed up, what was it, last week? Was it last week or was it the week before? Something like that. So obviously they they all showed up at different times. So obviously, they're doing their own thing now. So it's interesting. They didn't have to fight or anything. Obviously Bray Wyatt just set them free. So they're just kind of doing their own thing now. And who knows? Maybe they'll. I'm sure they'll cross paths again very soon or something like that. Maybe they'll fight. Obviously, maybe feud, maybe later down the road, but we'll see. We'll definitely see.
Royal Rumble will be the first time we see these guys maybe squaring up against each other. Because, with it being a 40-man Rumble this year, like it was in Boston a couple years ago, there's going to be plenty of spots for guys, that's for sure. And Zack Ryder won't be one of them.
But, yeah, it's very interesting. And the whole how he's going to be feuding with Dolph Ziggler for the Intercontinental, too. I thought that was interesting. Obviously, they had to have someone for Dolph Ziggler because Sheamus is with Rusev, Mark Henry's with Big Show, John Cena's with...
Brock, technically.
I guess Seth. I don't know. Yeah. And then Ryback, I guess, is with Kane. Pretty much, yeah, because Ryback and Kane had a little... So, yeah, I guess you can say Ryback and Kane and then John Cena and Seth. So, there you go. So
there's the time. I will say one thing. We didn't see Cesaro on the show. Maybe he was one of the guys that didn't make the trip. Unfortunate that he wasn't one of the 5. I really thought he could have used the rub on Team Authority, but obviously they went with Luke instead. And Luke's not a bad choice, but I certainly would have liked to see Cesaro.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even know about Cesaro anymore. I can definitely see why people are getting pissed about him, you know, being obviously a jobber to people, because he's been losing a lot of matches lately, and it's not good.
No, not at all. Not at all. I thought they pulled the trigger with the Intercontinental, but then have him lose 2 straight falls, and ever since then he's been on Jumper Street and Jabroni Avenue. So,
yeah. All right, guys. Well, Raw was actually pretty good. Lots of good stuff to talk about. I feel like that was a long show. And don't forget to thumbs up this video. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, and don't forget to join our Facebook group. And Joe, do you got anything to say about your show?
This Thursday on the Strike Zone, we're going to have a very special individual coming on. This man's name is Immortal Mike Sorkin. He's also known as Brother Hulk. He is a very famous Hulk Hogan impersonator. He's often, goes to most of the events, from not only the local in New England, but Survivor Series, WrestleMania. And he is also opening up a new ticket buying and selling business online, very similar to StubHub. And he's going to be on the Strike Zone talking about it. It's going to be very cool. So Thursday, 8 to 10 p.m. And, I should be getting some current stuff on my YouTube channel this week, too. I've been neglecting it a little bit, so I will have some new content this week.
That's good. Alrighty, don't forget to subscribe to Joe's channel. I will put all the links in the description. I hope you all have a fabulous day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.